6 p.m., February 2nd, 2021. I call this meeting to order. First off, public comment session. I remind everyone they have 4 minutes to speak. I'll hold up this card when you have 1 minute remaining, and when your time's up, I'll hold the red card. Jody Gallen.
I'm Jody Gallin. I'm from Seneca, South Carolina. I grew up here in this county. Finished Seneca High School in '76. Worked 28 years at J.P. Stevens, West Point Stevens in management. Then 10 years and retired from Johnson Controls a couple of years ago. I know this county pretty well, and I know the people in it and the needs of the people in it. I'm here to speak tonight about the resolution to declare Oconee a sanctuary city for the unborn. This is sloganeering, my friends, sloganeering, and it does nothing and is not germane to the topic of what this council needs to be working on. And I urge you to table this resolution tonight and get on with county business. You got a lot of important things on the agenda tonight and forward. Mask. This COVID crisis, we're one of the hottest spots in the hottest state in the country. And yes, contrary to what we've read in the paper by some council members, our parks and recreation and our roads and our bridges, these things are what we elected you to do something about. You know, there's a lot of social, societal problems that cause women to get to that point. And I'm not going to have a big, lengthy debate. I don't know that I would change anybody's mind on right to life or these kind of issues. But I do know that I looked through the budget last night to look at all the things that you can do to help protect life in this county. The health services section with support for Rosa Clark, the county's portion for mental health. You know we've got a terrible meth problem. All you got to do is read the Seneca Journal. We got to do something about that. And county government has a hand in it. The health department, support the county's portion of support on that. Tonight you're going to have some executive session to talk about economic development projects that are still confidential. I can tell you, I was a plant manager when West Point Stevens retired, when the plant closed in 2005. I was fabricating plant and distribution center manager. And I can tell you, when you lay off thousands of people in this county when the textile industry went down, we still have not recovered in this county. So that's the important business that you're doing, because if you open up a 75-employee plant, I closed Clemson Fabricating Plant and Distribution Center, 850 employees in 2005. So that's your critical business. That's your critical business. The Sheriff's Department. Look at what the Sheriff's Department is called on to do. And they go to a 12-week training program and put them out here on a $15 an hour job. We need to do better than that, but it costs money. It costs money. Our schools. Nothing's more critical than our schools and Tri-County Tech and our new vocational school, Helping Hands, the library. These are the things that you need to be working on. Infrastructure. We don't want to put up a sign to drive into Oconee County to tell everybody that we're holier than thou. That's very much in the Bible, folks. The Pharisee in the temple talking about the publican. We might as well post a sign that says, "Welcome to Oconee. We cast the first stone." Table this motion. Don't waste any time.
Kathy Crane.
Hello, thank you for your service. My name's Kathy Crane. I'm a school psychologist living in Seneca since 1992. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the peculiar proposal to declare Oconee County as a sanctuary for the unborn. I'd like to share a bit of why I am opposed to this with some research. Maybe you're not familiar with it. 13 death row prisoners were executed since July 2021 at the directive of the past president's administration. 2020. It had been 17 years without a federal execution. Who were those prisoners? One of those prisoners was a woman. Her name was Lisa Montgomery. According to USA Today, Ms. Montgomery had a well-documented history of experiencing severe and incessant physical, emotional, and sexual abuse from a very young age. Medical professionals have assessed that what she experienced amounted to years of torture as a child. Corey Johnson was another prisoner who was executed. He had experienced extensive trauma and violence in his childhood also. When one studies these unfortunate souls on death row, it can be found again and again that these persons suffered from abuse and neglect in their early years. There's a 1999 Business Week article that tells about a Harvard study that states that legalized abortion in the early 1970s was a causal factor for a dramatic decrease in the criminal rate. The idea was that the children who were not born would have been disproportionately likely to grow up in poverty and on welfare, with a young and poorly educated single parent. These factors are known to breed crime. These children who were not born would have been prime candidates to be criminals 15 to 25 years later. Hence, according to the Harvard study, these kids who were not born contributed to the notable drop in crime rates at that period of time. Abortion seemed to have weeded out the children who would have been likely to follow criminal careers. A more recent 2015 study in the Texas Observer provides evidence supporting findings from studies showing a correlation between childhood trauma and the potential for future violent offending. It's reported that in order to be healthy, rational adults, we require in childhood a reasonable amount of self-esteem and to feel loved. Those who do not ever get to enjoy that trust, confidence, love, or health receive, in fact, the opposite: neglect, abuse, and bad examples of how to treat other people. For many death row inmates, their essential fight or flight mechanism has been profoundly damaged. It's not hard to find these stories. I'll close with my feeling that abortion should not only be safe and legal, but it should also be rare. Let us do everything we can to provide for early development of children in our county through every means we can. Let us encourage our churches and communities to offer effective sexuality education to make pregnancies wanted. Thank you.
Abby Perrin.
Hello, my name is Abby Perrin. Thank you for hearing me speak today. I oppose the proposed designation and believe it will hamper Oconee County's continued growth into a stronger, richer, and more diverse community. I have grown up here my whole life, and I have spent 11 years of my career in the tourism industry in Oconee County, connecting with a wide array of individuals from all over the world and all over this nation. My goal has been to bring them into this county and to connect them with this place that I feel has a rich value. Many of these visitors would take their business elsewhere if they felt personally impacted or excluded by the proposed signage on the highways. The council members know that this is not a stagnant community. It is growing and home to a variety of backgrounds and diversity of belief systems. I do not think this designation would accurately represent the reality of this community. The function of the proposed sanctuary for the unborn designation and road signs would be for individuals to see and be aware of the values of the community they are entering. The language carries the heavy weight of moral implication, easily misinterpreted as, move along if you don't share these beliefs. By naming who is welcome, the unwelcome need only to read to know who they are. I believe this designation and accompanying highway signs will prove to be a detriment to the local economy and to the cultural integrity of this county. Oconee County is a sanctuary in truth, a holy place of natural beauty that is home to kind and well-meaning people. I believe our county's resources can be used in other ways to better open our doors wider and support the women that live here and the women who may want to. Sexual education, there's far more ways for us to support and educate the growing community that lives here and the community that may want to live here. Far better than naming who is welcome, and by doing so, naming who is not. Thank you.
Lumarary?
I think you can hear with my mask on, I've got a pretty good voice. Good evening, County Council members and citizens of Oconee County. My name is Liz Kimmer. I'm here tonight to represent myself. I'm a 57-year-old woman. I've had 2 miscarriages and 1 full-term pregnancy. Thus my son, who's now 17 years old, at Walhalla High School. My life intention is to help create life all around me. I feel most humans want to promote life. There is no us versus them in this situation. This situation calls for compassion, equity, a genuine love for each other as human beings. We meet at the table to find common ground. With that in mind, my body is my temple. It holds my spirit, it holds my soul, my purpose while I'm here on earth right now. How I adorn it, how I create it, how I express it, how I'm responsible for it, everything about it is my choice. That's how it is for everyone. That's free will. Should I get pregnant, how I handle that's between me and my partner. Although I appreciate others wanting to help me in that situation, ultimately, it's not theirs to make or impose upon me. Now, if my partner and I decide to have a baby and we carry it to the full term, then I am totally willing to get help. Because that's when we truly need it. Anyone who has birthed a human being knows this. That's when support, compassion, understanding, and love are necessary to help human beings grow and flourish. I feel God knows all this and has taken notes. These personal decisions are between myself, my partner, and God only. I feel that if those who are concerned about human life and are truly concerned about human life should be respectful of other human beings. They do not have power over anyone else except themselves. So I find this move by you, Matthew Durham, to be incredibly selfish and full of bravado. A political divisive move propagated by our former president. Let's grow, let's move on, and let's tackle real world and more specifically Oconee County issues. Thank you.
Madeline Fisher.
I'm going to be reading an open letter from 395 healthcare professionals from across the state of South Carolina who oppose restrictions on reproductive health care. This is directed to Governor McMaster, but also to all of us. As women's healthcare providers who have dedicated our careers and lives to securing healthy futures for our patients and their families, we respectfully urge you to oppose legislation that interferes with the provision of reproductive health care to the women of South Carolina. These policies are harmful to women's health and their futures. Women cannot achieve their full potential without having complete bodily autonomy. Medically unjustified restrictions on reproductive health care replace medical facts with political rhetoric and personal ideology. and ties the hands of healthcare providers from being able to provide the standard of care and healthcare decisions with their patients. These restrictions include inappropriately inserting politicians into the patient-clinician relationship by dictating the information and care clinicians provide to their patients, denying bodily autonomy and the capacity to make personal healthcare decisions regarding pregnancy to women and girls of our state in preference for medical outcomes scripted to her by state legislature, thus denying her humanity and free will to determine the trajectory of her own life. Effectively banning abortion in our state by criminalizing abortion early in pregnancy, before many women even know they are pregnant, or know if the fetus has a lethal anomaly, or know what pregnancy complications may befall them. We must preserve the well-established right to make personal healthcare decisions without interferences from politicians. Criminalizing healthcare providers for caring for their patients according to their medical training and professional judgment. Creating the possibility of a private right of action against physicians when they care for their patients within the scope of their practice, a dangerous precedent for our society, but especially for pregnant women. COVID-19 continues to test the strength of our healthcare system, our economy, and our social safety net, and has only exacerbated and underscored already unsustainable healthcare disparities. Instead of focusing on divisive, unjustified restrictions that jeopardize healthcare access and outcomes, we urge you to turn your attention to the urgent healthcare needs of our state's women and families. South Carolina ranks 42nd in maternal mortality for the United States, with a ratio of 24 deaths to 100,000 live births. Safe abortion is much safer than pregnancy, and these bills will restrict access to safe abortion. Requiring a woman to continue her pregnancy places her at much greater risk of mortality than does a safe abortion procedure. These bills do nothing to improve maternal health outcomes, nor will they reduce the need and desire for women to seek abortion care, but they will limit the availability of safe abortion care and threaten to exacerbate our state's maternal mortality crisis. Our state is also facing a dire shortage in our women's health provider workforce, particularly in rural South Carolina, which has at least 10 counties that have no OBGYNs. We are deeply concerned that passing restrictive abortion laws would undermine our efforts to recruit and retain clinicians in South Carolina. Further, our 3 credited OBGYN residency programs must provide training or access to training in the provision of abortion as part of a planned curriculum. Were this legislation to become law, it is unclear how our residency programs would be able to meet these standards. Shared decision-making between patients and their healthcare providers must continue to rely on science, best practices, and individual needs. Again, we respectfully urge you to oppose legislation that restricts access to reproductive health care and seeks to punish clinicians providing compassionate, evidence-based care. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can she state her name for the record? And just make sure, I didn't catch it.
Do I need to come back up?
Yeah.
Please, I'm so sorry. That's okay.
Mr. Chairman, council members, I'm
Mr.
Terry
Chairman,
Keene.
you can state it right there, that's fine.
Madeline Fisher. Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If you would say your name, please.
Mr. Chairman and council members, I'm Terry Keene. I live in the Lake Corridor overlay. I'm an architect emeritus. I've been practicing in this state for over 45 years, and I've dealt with signage issues for a long time. Reviewed the signage ordinance that you will be seeing tonight, and I find it to be very well written. It will help avoid the visual pollution that results from the lack of signage controls. I urge you to pass this ordinance on your second reading and pass it on the final reading when that occurs. I'd also encourage you to include the rules for the overlay district in the proposed design standards for the significant highway areas, so it expands what's proposed in this reading. I thank you, and I encourage you to sign this or approve this ordinance. Thank you.
Aiden Lay. I don't know if I said your name right.
My name's Hayden Lay. I'm a 15-year-old. I go to Wahala High School, and I'm also a proud Democrat. I'm a progressive Democrat. But I'm also here to support Mr. Durham's resolution to make Oconee County a sanctuary for the unborn. The whole point of the Democratic Party is to protect human rights. And I still believe the most basic human right is the right to life, and that nobody has the right to take away another human right. It's the only human right Democrats believe in, to take away another human right. Embryos and fetuses are just a stage of development, just like I am growing into adulthood. Planned Parenthood kills 30 babies per hour. That's over 62 million total since Roe v. Wade, and something people won't like to hear is that 6 times the Holocaust. They also experiment on aborted babies. Sex trafficking victims are taken to Planned Parenthood 30% of the time, no questions asked, and given back to their abusers. Some people will say that we should keep abortion because it's safe and legal. Yet just yesterday in Ohio, a woman was injured at an abortion clinic and had to be taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Thankfully, she survived. I even know someone who had an abortion. She never got the counseling she deserved, and she woke up halfway through the abortion because they didn't do it right. These abortions are not safe. Planned Parenthood does not do them safe. Local abortion clinics do not do them safe. Planned Parenthood will also not tell you about these facts. At fertilization, a baby's eye color and sex are determined. At 21 days, a baby's heart will start beating 105 times per minute. And at 6 weeks, a baby's brain waves can be detected. At 7 weeks, a baby kicks, jumps, and reacts to touch. And at 9 weeks, a baby can stretch and suck her thumb. Why won't they tell you this? Because if mothers were empowered with this knowledge, the number of abortions would drastically increase. Abortionists prove they only care about one thing: profit from killing the most innocent humans on this earth, the preborn. This is why we also need more government funding for crisis pregnancy centers like Foothills Care Center right here in Oconee County. It offers free pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, counseling, clothing and formula for babies, and even financial support. We can't just make abortion illegal, we have to make it unthinkable and unwanted. Our county can be the forefront of ending abortion through compassion and empowering women. We need to pass this resolution and save another 62 million unborn babies. Thank you.
Peter Barnes.
My name is Peter Barnes, and I am the president of the Homeowners Association, of which Terry Keith just spoke, and who is on the Architectural Committee. I'm here to direct my comments towards 2 ordinances being reviewed tonight, 2104 regarding the wearing of face coverings, and 2021-05 regarding signage in the county. Our Board of Directors in the Coney Subdivision Association reviewed both of these, and we're very pleased to see how well they were written. And we applaud the county and the county council for taking these important steps and strongly endorse the adoption of these ordinances. The wearing of face coverings has been unambiguously proven by medical science to greatly reduce the spread of airborne viruses. The action taken by the county regarding face coverings and the South Carolina commitment to increasing vaccinations will more rapidly permit the county and the state to return to pre-pandemic norms. The detailed description, 11 pages, of the signage ordinance in particular is clearly stated and unambiguous in its details, which will lead to attractive signage in the county, and we applaud and ask you to adopt this as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.
We had 10 write-in comments that were given to the council clerk. I'll read those out. I'm writing to express my approval of ordinance requiring face coverings in county facilities. As I see it, this action is for the benefit and well-being of citizens of the county and needs to be approved. The latest scientific information from the CDC continues to indicate that the wearing of face coverings decreases the spread of COVID virus. As you're aware, the more people who have COVID, the more opportunities the virus has to mutate into more contagious forms. That's from Alice Wall. I oppose Councilman Matthew Durham's proposal to have Oconee County declared a sanctuary for the unborn, accompanying highway signage. I had a 40-year career in the tourism industry in Oconee County, introducing over 450,000 visitors to the natural beauty of our home. Many of those visitors would choose to take their money elsewhere if they felt personally affronted by highway signage. Signs risk being interpreted as keep out if you don't share our beliefs. Surely County Council can understand our county is not insular and see the potential harm this could cause our economy. Our county is composed of many great and well-meaning people like Councilman Durham, but with diversity of views. Let's make sure that we welcome that is for all. Doing so will make Oconee counties live better through increased tax revenues from visitors, lessening the tax burden on our citizens. Dave Perrin. If possible, I'd like to have the following brief statement, which is against the unborn sanctuary resolution, read at tonight's meeting during the citizen comments period. As former healthcare provider, I believe the proposed unborn sanctuary resolution would raise certain legal issues for our Oconee County. Currently in South Carolina, it's a woman's legal right to see her medical provider in order to be prescribed the abortion pill or the morning after pill. It is also the provider's legal right to prescribe these pills. This resolution would have no legal standing to prevent women from using abortion pills in the county. This would create some complex legal issues for the county. Cena Smith, retired nurse practitioner. I'm writing to express my disapproval of Resolution 2021-01 declaring Oconee County a sanctuary for the unborn. First and foremost, separation of church and state is law of the land and is not being observed in this proposed resolution. Query Oconee County Council needs to vote no on this resolution and not be swayed by your colleagues' religious leanings which have no place in county government. Thank you for maintaining the separation of church and state by voting no on this resolution. That's by Alice Wall. I oppose Matthew Durham's proposal to declare Oconee County a sanctuary for the unborn with accompanying signage. One of Councilman Durham's core beliefs is not to infringe on personal liberty of individuals. This declaration implies that women do not have the right to own their own choices when it comes to their own health. The time and expense of debating this declaration do not seem well spent during the pandemic. Could not our time and money be better spent by ensuring that all citizens who choose may be vaccinated and protected from the virus? That's from Sarah Stipe. I would like the council to know of my concern over the following segment of Resolution 2021-01. Whereas the Supreme Court of the United States has abused its power function of judicial review and supplanted it with unconstitutional theory of judicial supremacy in order to legislate and impose its policies and preferences upon the people. I fear that Mr. Durham's criticism of the Supreme Court suggests that he does not support the checks and balances that are integral to the function of our democracy. He states that the Supreme Court has imposed its policy preferences on the people. This is strange to me because Resolution 2021-01 itself feels like an attempt by a county representative to impose a religiously motivated political preference upon me, Krista Wilson. I encourage the county council not to pass a resolution making the county a sanctuary for the unborn. This is an issue that the county should not be involved, but would rather belongs to the state and federal governments. Oconee County is becoming a progressive county in which businesses and industries are seeking to locate. This resolution is a step backwards and will only discourage those businesses and industries from locating in Oconee County. This resolution is not in the best interest of our county. Don George. The choice of abortion should not lie in politics, but with a woman, her doctor, and her God. None of us have walked in the shoes of a woman making that difficult decision, nor know her circumstances. What if she loses her job because she is sick due to difficult pregnancy and cannot provide for children already here? What if her job provides no maternity leave? What if there's no child care available? What if her job does not pay well enough to provide for this child? Don't you suppose that necessary support was there? that she might not be faced with such a heart-wrenching decision. This resolution should not be passed. The focus should instead be providing the much-needed lifeline to those who find themselves in extremely trying situations. Another angle to consider, as the United States moves toward a more centrist outlook, we must frame our county, Oconee, to reflect that if we want to attract business and tourist dollars, any view that is either extreme, does not present the county and the necessary life for business to locate here. Retirees relocate here and tourists to visit here. The middle ground is best for all. The resolution is not centrist. It is way too far to one side of the spectrum. Vanetta George. I'm opposed to the resolution declaring Oconee County a sanctuary for the unborn. I am particularly opposed to using any tax dollars to create signs to that effect. This is a serious matter that should not be discussed at a time when people cannot attend meetings. It is simply a grandstanding effort on the part of a newly elected Matthew Durham to create an issue over abortion for his own selfish reasons. We do not need signs calling ourselves a sanctuary for the unborn. This issue is a serious issue, and he is making it into a joke. I'm seeing 5 men who cannot and will not have to carry another being inside of their body. It is not the county council job to take on this issue. He is simply craving attention and making a mockery out of the job. Money should not be spent on signs. Our taxpayer money should be spent on serious things like schools and infrastructure. Patty Warner. Is it possible for you to read comments from interested parties who are unable to attend county council meetings due to COVID restrictions? If so, I'd like to comment on the meeting tonight regarding the proposed resolution making Oconee a sanctuary for the unborn. As much of our county council could do better things for the lives of its citizens, the resolution is an utter waste of time in helping anyone. And to even consider spending scarce resources on highway signage announcing such absurdity is a dereliction of duty. I request this be tabled at this time so council can conduct business that will benefit the good citizens of Oconee County. Mary Collins. Council member comments.
Mr. Dillard?
Yes, sir.
So much of what I've heard of people opposing the Sanctuary County resolution comes to the fact that these children are born into bad situations or they're born into, they're poor. Well, I myself was born into a very similar situation. Single mother with no money, no support. Was she scared? Yes, I'm sure. Was it easy? No. I remember growing up holding around a kerosene heater trying to stay warm. I remember the power being cut off. And my mother worked multiple jobs just to try to make ends meet. None of which paid very well. She worked non-traditional women's jobs. I remember at 4 years old, she lost her finger in a sawmill accident. After school, I would frequently go to work with her, because they didn't have childcare. And at 11 o'clock at night, I wasn't tucked in my bed. I was laying on a shelf in the back of the store, wrapped in blankets. And after we closed the store down, we go to the county park and clean the restrooms and restock them. Was it a hard life? I didn't know at the time. It was all I knew. But I do know one thing. It was life. I'm going to tell you another story about a friend of mine. His mother died during an attempted abortion. And while her son battled with the side effects of the inhumane act, to date, the man's lived a full life. He's had children. He's had grandchildren. He's made more money than most of us will ever see, and yet he's given most of it away to help those in need. He's always thinking of others, and he's blessed the lives of many others, including my own. I would not be where I am today if it was not for his influence on my life as a young man. God has used his life to bless many lives, including mine. And just because he wasn't wanted doesn't mean his life didn't matter. Just because I was born poor to a single mother doesn't mean my life didn't matter. What I'm proposing here is to develop a culture of life in this county to show a clear resolve of where we stand. The Senate passed the heartbeat bill. That's a great step. It'll save thousands of lives. Next up, it'll be a personhood bill. But if all abortions are outlawed today, abortion will still exist. And that's why it's important to develop a culture of life. And I've heard many of you speak on this same issue. It takes a whole community. It takes charities such as the Foothills Care Center, Rosa Clark Clinic. It takes churches. a robust foster care system, it takes all of us. It's not about condemnation or judgment. It's about love. And if this resolution passes, I'll make a motion for the council to bring the community together. Ms. Garner, you brought up some very good points. To bring everybody in, to bring up the charities, the churches, the social services, and together we can figure out, hey, how can we provide a culture of life so that these women, in a very unfortunate circumstance, don't turn to death, but they seek life. That's all.
Any other councilman comments?
Yes, sir. I don't want you people to think I was there, but when Moses went up on the mountain and brought back that tablet, the sixth thing on there says, "Thou shalt not kill." And I don't know what's so hard to understand about that little 10 things that were noted on there, and that's one of them. That the way I look at abortion is murder. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have somebody who came in late who would like to speak.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for allowing me to speak, members of the council. My name's David McMahon. This week, under the Biden administration, the Deputy National Security Advisor informed that the greatest national security threat in America today is the police. Just look it up if you don't believe me. The second biggest thing is white nationalism. This week, January the 1st, Oregon passed law that you can smoke heroin and meth walking down the streets of the streets in the state of Oregon. What I'm trying to get at is, I've heard tonight now that if you protect an unborn child, we're going to be a third world country in Oconee County. I didn't know that till tonight. It's all about money, isn't it? All I've heard tonight is we ain't going to make no money if we support a living being. That's what I've heard tonight. I've heard that over and over again, excuses for killing. Killing is killing, no matter what you do. The Oconee County Republican Party has been silent on a lot of issues, social issues, and I thank you, Mr. Durham, for coming up with some social issues that we need in this county. They say it's a state problem, it's a national problem. We are the state. We are the nationalism in Oconee County. We are all of those. Will you agree? The state Republican Party sent an email this week. Y'all may have seen it. It said for Republicans to start standing up for what they believe in and say it and be vocal, because we haven't do it. Look what happened in Georgia. The Democrats run over there. They did what they did to steal the election, whatever, and I'm sorry, but I am sick and tired of hearing things that are going on that me as a conservative has got to say something. I'm imploring every one of you gentlemen on the council are Republicans. Please, I hope you're a conservative Republican. I hope you're not a Mitt Romney Republican. I hope you're not. Please start showing it. These folks out here, they've already made their mind up what they feel about it. Y'all have the courage, y'all the one that the majority of the people elected in Oconee County to take care of Republican issues. Are we right? I hope you're a conservative Republican. I hope you support unborn babies, because it's happening all over the country and we don't need that. No matter how you handle it, at least tell folks whether you believe in killing or living, one of the two. Thank you.
Moment of silence, please. Mr. Root?
Yes, sir. Pray with me if you'd like to. Well, Father, give me the words to pray. Here we are. as your creation. Thankful that you've made us and sustained our life, sustained this planet, this universe, a delicate design and a wonderful design, and that you've just enthused us with various opinions, various bases of knowledge, and I don't think any one of us are the same, and that's a testament to your liking, I suppose, for diversity. You can see that in the created earth and the universe, and we are different. And I pray that we could celebrate that, we could learn from one another. Very importantly, that we would be slow to speak. And instead, we'd be quick to listen, and we'd be slow to anger, and we'd be governed by love. We don't know the answers, all the right answers. You do. Our 3.5-pound brains cannot figure it all out, but we can cling to the wisdom that you give us, try to make deliberate decisions, and yours your wisdom that governs this universe. I pray that you'd give that to council, and you give us strength for staff to carry it out. In your name I pray. Amen.
Mr. Davis, will you lead us in the pledge?
Please stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me remind council that when we vote, we'll vote by voice and raise our hand. Is there a motion to approve the January 19, 2021 special minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the January 19th, 2021 regular minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Ms. Brunt?
Thank you, sir. I do not have anything this evening.
Mr. Root?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just two housekeeping matters. One is, and I just didn't want to holler in at the time that it comes up, but within the SNAP Ed grant application, it notes the request is for the AAR, or the Agriculture Advisory Board to make that application. It's not an entity the county would need to make it, would make it with the support of the AAB. So I'll phrase that motion when we get to it. It doesn't require any amendment to the agenda. The other matter is the appointment of Mr. Rex Blanton, or the nomination for him for an at-large seat during our last meeting. We'll need a motion if council so inclined to rescind that nomination and nominate him for the District 3 seat. That way we'd have two at-large seats open, and I understand from our clerk that that would enable us to fill that board completely.
One at-large seat. One at-large seat open with
One
two questionnaires.
All right,
Yes, sir.
that was it.
Okay. Public hearing for the following ordinance. Ordinance 2020-24. An ordinance amending Chapter 32 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances in certain limited regards and particulars only regarding the removal of distance requirements currently found in Section 32-181 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances. No one has signed up for public comment. Any written comments can be given to Katie Smith, the clerk of council. I close public hearing 2020-24. Public hearing ordinance 2020-25. Ordinance authorizing Oconee County to enter into an energy savings performance arrangement between Oconee County and Johnson Controls, Inc. and a related lease purchase arrangement not to exceed $3,400,000 between Oconee County and one or more lenders. Each is described in the South Carolina Code annotated 11-27-110 and other related matters. No one has signed up for public comments. Any written comments can be given to the council clerk. I close public hearing ordinance 2020-25. Third reading of 2020-24. An ordinance amending Chapter 32 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances in certain limited regards and particulars only regarding the removal of distance requirements currently found in Section 32-181 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir. If you was here last week, you heard me say this was a correction. This was a overreach by the previous council and planning commission. But I am for this correction. In fact, I would like to have a lot more corrections for some of these radical things that have been brought up. And we don't have to wait 2 years. I need your help maybe tomorrow. If you see Fox News, I saw Mark Levin say what he could do to the 75 million Trump voters that was being, having their voice taken on social media. He said, find another one. So we can do that here today. Now, if you don't like me trying to take away some of your freedoms, you can call me and say, Mr. Hart, I don't like your way of governing. Or, Mr. Hart, if you persist in this, I won't be calling you to do no surveying for me. Now, this is not new in Oconee County. Jesse Jackson used this with a Rainbow Coalition, but he called it the word I can't pronounce because I lost it in my notes. But anyway, what I'd like, he called it a boycott. I found myself. And we have Jerry Edwards in the Journal. They call it intimidation or threats. If you don't believe that, ask Joel Thrift, Wayne McCall, and the officer standing back here in the back, Mr. David McNahan. So if you people don't like the government you got, you let these people up here and me know, and we can change this, and especially if we stepping on your feet, taking away your personal freedoms and your right for public property rights. Thank you.
All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Third reading of ordinance 2025. An ordinance authorizing Oconee County to enter into an energy savings performance arrangement between Oconee County and Johnson Controls, Inc. and a related lease purchase arrangement not to exceed $3,400,000 between Oconee County and one or more lenders. Each is described in the South Carolina Code annotated 1127-110 and other related matters. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Second reading of the following ordinance. An ordinance requiring individuals to wear face coverings in certain facilities owned or operated by Oconee County, sunset provision included, and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Nobody likes wearing a mask. Nurses have been wearing them forever to protect people. And I sit here and think about every day that I put it on, the people that have to wear these for their entire career and go home with their ears hurting and everything else. So if anything, it's made me think about those people that give their life and every day that are in there. That's what we should be thinking of. And we're out here to do everything we can to be as safe as possible. And it's difficult. And, I think I should have bought stock in face masks, as many of them I have in my car. And it's just one of those things that we're trying to do the best thing we know how to do as we're learning about things. And that's kind of like, us as council jobs, we have to continue to grow. We have to continue to educate ourselves. And sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. So, but I am in favor of this in county buildings. It has done a good job at protecting our people that work here, especially during the election when we had so many people that were in here. And, for one thing, that's why we really got behind it, is to protect those that came in here. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Fauci is now recommending 2 masks, so we're going to change this ordinance to require double masking. Where's the trust in the American people going? American people have thrived off of making decisions for themselves. But I have a question. When are we going to open up the county offices? I get emails and texts every week about the county government not being accessible. Why is it only that the government's in a panic when you have grocery stores, Lowe's, Walmart's, gas stations, everybody else is open up? New construction in the county's booming. You have brick masons, electricians, carpenters going to work every single day. And if the services the county provides are essential, and they are, and the county's going to continue to take the taxpayers' money, then the county government needs to be open for business, and it needs to be accessible to the people. That's all.
All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 2021-05, third reading. Excuse me, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 32 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances in certain limited regards and particulars only regarding the establishment of lake corridor signage standards and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman. So this ordinance is amending Section 32, United Performance Standards of the Code of Ordinances. The creation of a lake corridor with different standards is anything but unified and clearly falls under zoning. So my question is, has a written notice been sent out to each parcel owner on these highways notifying them of the intent to rezone and the date of the public hearing as required by the County Code of Ordinances, Section 38.8.2? This affects many more people than the few people who have the ear of Mr. Elliott. We say Lake Corridor, but I want to make it clear that this is not just Lake Kiwi. This is every landowner that lives on Highway 130 from Seneca to the town of Salem, Highway 188, and Highway 183 from 188 to the Pickens County line. This ordinance is purely top-down forced zoning. If you want to zone it, then do it above board with the proper notifications. That's all.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I have a agenda here that has 2106 on there. And I understand it's been pulled.
It had to go to the planning commission for a public hearing before it could come back to us, as directed in the last meeting.
But we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we voted on this. But my concern is, this is the second time that Mr. McCain's committee has tried to sidestep the planning commission. The first time, they voted down his sign ordinance, yet he come through the back door with it and got it passed. But that was when he was saying that the planning commission didn't have any professionals on it. And now, in our first reading, this was not done in the proper procedure. And this again is following the top-down zoning corridor by Mr. Kane and his committee. And those people that are on that committee, one of them was a chair, another had been a chair, and now the present chair are all on that committee. You would think that they would know what the format is, especially Mr. Kane. I think the government and the court system run on some type of format. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just for the public's benefit, within the ordinance as is presented for the first time during the last meeting, for first reading. Embedded within the ordinance is a legal requirement that's in our code of ordinances that any proposed amendment to our subdivision regulations, which is what this traffic corridor design standards fall within, that the proposed amendment needs to go back to the planning commission for public hearing upon 30 days notice. So it's in proper form. This is the way we have customarily done it. It's a proposed amendment having first reading. Planning commission will have the public hearing on it within 30 days notice. It'll come back then to full council for a second reading.
Thank you. There are no first readings. There's a first and final reading of Resolution 2021-01. Mr. Durham, will you please read your resolution?
A resolution declaring Oconee County, South Carolina, to be a sanctuary county for the unborn, and urging the citizens of Oconee County to promote and defend an inalienable right to life and the inherent dignity of all human beings, born and preborn, from fertilization to natural death. Whereas the Declaration of Independence affirms that all men are created equal and have been endowed by the Creator with unalienable rights, chief among them the right to life. And that the protection of these rights is an affirmative duty of federal, state, and local government. And whereas James Madison, who is considered to be the father of the United States Constitution, wrote that the accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. And whereas the Supreme Court of the United States has abused its proper function of judicial review and supplanted it with the unconstitutional theory of judicial supremacy in order to legislate and impose its policy preferences upon the people. And whereas the 5th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution provide for the protection of human life and liberty. And whereas the Supreme Court of the United States in Poker v. Doe concluded that the Constitution does not forbid a state or city pursuant to democratic processes from expressing a preference for normal childbirth instead of abortion. And whereas state police powers derive from the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which gives states the powers not delegated to the United States. And whereas the power to establish and enforce laws protecting the welfare, safety, and health of the public is a core function of the state's 10th Amendment police power. And whereas Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution of the state of South Carolina declares that the privileges and immunities of citizens of this state and of the United States under this Constitution shall not be abridged, nor shall any person be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. Nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. And whereas the council desires to express its deep concern that all human beings, from fertilization to natural death, both born and preborn, in Oconee County should be afforded protection from acts of cruelty and be treated humanely and with dignity. Now therefore be it resolved, Section 1, the Oconee County Council hereby recognizes and declares the full humanity of the preborn child and declares Oconee County, South Carolina, to be a sanctuary county, with the dignity of all human beings from fertilization through natural death will be defended and promoted. Section 2. The Oconee County Council hereby resolves to enforce this resolution by all means within its power in accordance with its responsibility as the people's elected local representatives. Section 3. Based upon the desire to be recognized as a sanctuary county, the Oconee County Council shall arrange for placement of highway signs on the major corridor entrances into the county, stating Oconee County is a sanctuary county for the unborn. That's all.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. I'll start off the discussion. Mr. Durham, with all due respect to you, this is an issue with the federal government and the Supreme Court. It is not a county government issue. Further discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I've received a lot of calls from it. I've received a lot of calls from conservative Republicans. It's not, I don't refer to anybody out here as liberal left attacking or conservative Republicans. We're all citizens out here together. And I'm the father of 2 awesome kids and a husband, an amazing lady. And, I know my words and my vote tonight will be used against me to fit a specific agenda. And that is what it is. It's kind of par for the course. So there's so many things that we as council have to focus on right here in Oconee County. There's many federal, state, and issues that each of us have our own personal opinion on, and that is each our own right. And if you really want to start making laws and things like that on the federal and state level, then there's other methods to get elected for those seats. If you read the mission statement of Oconee County that we continue to adopt, it states that we are to provide our current and future citizens and visitors quality services while protecting our communities, heritage, environment, and natural resources in an ever-changing world. The vision that is adopted for Oconee County is to create a diverse, growing, safe, vibrant community guided by rural traditions, shaped by natural beauty, where employment, education, and recreation offer a rich quality of life for all generations, both today and tomorrow. I'm in county government to serve our county and its citizens, and that's where my focus will stay. My focus is toward mentorship of our youth, to encourage them to be great citizens of this county. My focus is on creating better lives for each and every one that lives here, whether they are homeless or have a home. My focus is on supporting people that are in a rough spot in their lives and trying to find the light at the end of that dark tunnel. Let's focus on what causes this issue that you're proposing tonight and educate our youth and support them to make good decisions. Let's support that single mother that needs help and encouragement. Let's support our children in this county that need foster support right now. We're put on earth to love each other and support each other. Each of us sitting up here is elected to serve this county and its citizens, and that's what I'll continue to do. Thank you, Chairman.
I'll go if you don't have anything. You noticed all these people come up to this podium to speak. Everyone in here. We're going to be at a podium one day after death, and we're going to be answering to somebody more supreme than any of us all put together. And it's going to be about what we did tonight. And I don't want to be on the wrong side. So I will be voting for this. And I'm not shirking. I'm not trying to please all of you. I'm trying to do what's good for the Father up above. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair. I think, when I started running for county council, thinking about it years ago, been at least 6 years now, I never, ever thought we would have a day in this country where we see the Capitol stormed because of dangerous rhetoric, people conflating issues and using outright falsehoods. People using their position to whip up violence and create issues at levels of government that do not deal with these matters. And this resolution will have zero effect on the number of abortions that are performed in this country. Zero effect on the none of abortions that occur in this county, to my knowledge, have ever occurred. This isn't an attempt to use a national issue to divide a very good community. And I think those that would seek to do that need to look back at what the functions of county government are. And if they think that this is their calling to fight abortion in these United States, then perhaps they should run for higher office. Perhaps they should become a constitutional lawyer and take up those causes to the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land, which does decide these issues in our government. That is where this issue rests. And if the Constitution should be amended by the states legally as we do things in this country, I think, then perhaps that can be dealt with through the proper constitutional Congress. But it is not, in my opinion, a county issue. And furthermore, I don't think this resolution will have any impact whatsoever. And so I would call on all of you, on whichever side of the issue you fall, to support life and support everyone who is struggling right now. May abortion not be an option because there is a better option. May they choose life because there is an opportunity for that. May we avoid anyone ever coming to the conclusion that abortion is a good option. Because that, I think, is the root cause of this. There's so much pain and poor planning. Planning is important as well. People making decisions that do not begin with the end in mind. And I think that's so important, not only on issues, social issues, or national issues or state issues, but on county issues. Let's think about how do we address unwanted pregnancy in Oconee County. Is it putting up signs on the side of the road, or is it educating? Is it helping those who need help and showing them there is a better way? And so I am opposed to this resolution, not because I'm in favor of abortion, but I don't think this resolution will have any impact whatsoever on the stated goals. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman? So we're talking about the safety of the community, Mr. Davis did. You know, that's safety for everybody unless you're not wanted. Right. And if the signs is the sticking point, I'll make a motion to remove the signs, but pass a resolution for a sanctuary county to develop a culture of life. To come together with the charities and the churches so that death is not an option to these women, to where they seek life. If you truly care about life, as some of you said you do, then you could get behind that. That's all.
Yes, sir. I think, to your comments, Mr. Durham, I appreciate you saying that. But many of us have been working in the community for many years to promote a culture of life and to do things in the community to bring these things about. And there are many people here who are not, I don't mean those here tonight necessarily, but those in our community who do not feel like they belong and turn to many vices that do not lead to life. And so I agree with you. We need to continue to seek those things. Passing a resolution in words, I think, is very cheap. I think investing your time and your resources to help in the community where the people are, it is much more impactful and says so much more than passing a resolution to say, Oconee County is a sanctuary county for the unborn. What about the people that are in the county? What about those who are in Utica, my district, who don't see that? They don't see that on a day-to-day basis. They do not feel valued. And I will call on everyone here and everyone in our community to begin a culture of life without the county council passing a resolution so stating. Let us be the light. Let us be the resolution to honor life and protect it.
Mr. Chairman, what I heard right there was just words, because I got a resolution to where you can put your name on it, and it's more than just words. But that's just
Put your name on it. Put your name on it.
Mr. Durham, I would say also have worked and have acted to protect life and help those in this community. I've spent time, and I think that just means so much more than signing a resolution.
Then putting your name on it, that means more? Than saying, I stand behind it, that means more?
I think my actions speak much louder than your words.
Well, this is an action right now, and it's speaking.
It is not an action, sir. I disagree.
Mr. Elliott, this is what I kind of talked about, the agenda here. This is kind of, this vote is not about life or for an unborn or not. It's about a specific agenda to divide here. I love my kids, and I do anything in the world for them. And I do support, the unborn. And, my vote, sitting up here, this vote is not about anti-abortion or for abortion. That's not what this is. This is all just an agenda. And my vote tonight is not about that. It's not about this. If you want to be on the abortion side of things, federal and state level, hey, I'll get you the sheet of when the date is. You can file.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
We're at the point that you either got to stand up and be counted or just wither off to the side. So, myself, I support it, and I've told you the reasons that I do that, and I'm ready to stand up for what I believe. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
All opposed to the resolution?
Aye.
Not in the.
Discussion regarding action items. Council consideration approval of grant submission for the Agricultural Advisory Board to apply for a SNAP-Ed Local Food Policy Council Development and Expansion Grant Program. The SNAP-Ed Local Food Policy Council Development and Expansion Grant Program will provide funding for newly forming food policy councils to accelerate their development and existing food policy councils to expand their capacity to identify and advance policy systems and environmental change strategies for improving healthy food access and ensuring food equity. The grants are intended to fund staff time to carry out the following activities in order to support food policy council formation, development, and operations. Mr. Root, you were gonna.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if I may, thank you. Just slight tweaking of the staff recommendation. Instead of the way it's written, we should insert, it is staff's recommendation that council approve the grant submission by the county with the assistance of the Agricultural Advisory Board to apply for the SNAP-Ed Local Food Policy Council Development and Expansion Grant Program. So we need a motion along those lines.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair. I am very excited to hear that the Agriculture Advisory Board is seeking this grant. And I know that there has been much work by a nonprofit group that put on the food summit back in 2019. I believe it's February, right before pandemic really took its hold on our county. And I think that this is a very good thing for the Ag Advisory Board to seek to develop, but I must say, the Food Policy Council cannot function as the Ag Advisory Board. It is the Ag Advisory Board is an agricultural issue entity, and really, food is much larger than just the Agricultural Advisory Board. So the Food Policy Council needs to take into not only the producers of food, but also the consumers and those who assist with those functions. So, again, I'll support this, Mr. Chair, but I must emphasize that I think that the Food Policy Council should be separate and apart from the Ag Advisory Board function.
Mr. Kane, I agree fully that it should be separate. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board and Commission appointments. Aeronautics Commission, District 5, we have 2 questionnaires on file for this city.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Bobby Finley for the Aeronautics Commission.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agricultural Advisory Board,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to rescind, because that was the one that made the motion for Mr. Rex Blanton. I'd like to rescind my motion for his at-large seat for the Ag Advisory Board, please, sir.
do we vote on that?
Yeah, you can do it as one felt swoop if you're inclined to appoint him or nominate him for District 3.
And I'd like to appoint on, I can't keep all this stuff straight. Well, it's District 3. I'll let District 3 appoint that person.
So we'll just take it separately. Have a vote on the motion to rescind
Okay.
Mr. Blanton for
All in favor of rescind?
Aye.
So District 3, there's, excuse me.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Rex Blanton to serve in the District 3 seat. Thank you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Arts,
Hang on, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, let's see. That's fine, we'll pass on. That's fine.
let's see, did we do District 2?
That's all we did.
Not yet. For Agricultural Advisory Board, I'd like to nominate Mr. Larry Cantrell.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Arts and Historical Commission, no questionnaire on file. Board of Zoning Appeals, District 5, no questionnaire on file.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I was waiting on Mr. Durham's nomination on 2, because I know there was 2 in there, so I would like to, on Ag Advisory Board, if I can, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
Ms. Tessa Moxley for that large seat, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Arts and, let's get it. Board of Zoning Appeals, I think we're at large seat. We've got 1 questionnaire on file for this seat. I nominate William Decker. All in favor?
Aye.
Building Codes Appeal Board. There are 5 at-large seats, 4 questionnaires on file. I nominate John Sandifer. All in favor?
Aye.
I nominate Brad Kisker.
Aye.
And I nominate James McKibben.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Kevin Knight.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Conservation Bank Board, District 2, there's 1 question on file.
Mr. Smith, I can't think of his first name.
Andrew Smith.
Andy.
To nominate Andy Smith.
All in favor?
Aye.
District 4 is no questionnaire. District 5, no questionnaire. At large, there are 2 questionnaires. I'd like to nominate Charles Vanderpool. All in favor?
Aye.
Library Board, 1 at-large seat.
I'd like to nominate Monica,
Go ahead.
Monica White.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Library Board, 1 at-large seat, 2 questionnaires.
That was, I
You
think,
had it.
you just did library board, I believe, right?
Did I?
That was Monica.
Parks Rec.
Parks and Recreation Tourism, 3 at-large seats, 3 questions on file. I nominate Kevin Evans. All in favor?
I nominate Shane Smith, District 4.
All in favor?
Nominate Sean Johnson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Planning Commission, District 5, there's 1 question on file.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Patrick Williams.
All in favor?
Wait a minute, is this District 5?
District 5
Sorry,
Planning Commission.
sorry. I can't follow along.
Well, I can't either. That's where I'm at.
Planning Commission, District 5.
There wasn't a question there. I'm sorry, Mr. Hart. I didn't
No,
mean to
this
skip
is
it.
at large.
No, but there's,
That was
there's,
it.
District
I've
5,
got,
there's 1 question on file, District 5.
I've got Mrs. Garland that was here. Her husband wanted to be on one of these committees.
Okay.
He's supposed to have brought it up to Katie. I think Katie has it.
Gary?
Yeah.
Yes, it's in your packet.
District
Yeah.
5, so you,
Yeah.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
At large?
Nominate Patrick Williams.
All in favor?
I got a nominee too. Darlene Green.
Okay, we'll do Patrick because it was first.
Okay.
Is that all right? Okay, so all in favor of Patrick Williams?
Aye.
All opposed? All in favor of your person?
Aye.
Council will go into executive session for following purposes. Receive legal advice and discuss a contractual matter regarding certain real property located at Golden Corner Commerce Park that is currently held by Oconee Economic Alliance. 2, discussion regarding economic development matter Project Rise. 3, discussion regarding economic development matter Project Thoroughbred. 4, receive legal advice to discuss contractual matter related to county broadband network, focus, include discussion regarding potential/developing third-party relationships. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. No action was taken in executive session. Motion to